He go, now what? Of course, you're supposed to leave him alone. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to be tripping on it. You ain't do nothing wrong, so screw him. But the truth is, being ghosted hurts. It hurts like hell, especially initially when you're not sure, when you thought things were going well. That's at least a situation that a young lady hit me up on. Like her dude like 6, 7 months in. And he had ghosted for like 3 days before, but it was like 3 days. Like, okay, no big deal. First time, I'll make an exception. Your goldfish died, your knee was hurting that day, or you overslept for 72 hours straight. Okay. But now he's ghosted for a week and a half and counting. And she hit me up like, yo, I'm not really sure why I even care at this point. I should have expected it, but I do. What do I do now? He's ghosted me. I feel like crap. My mind is going crazy. She's hit him up a couple of times. She's thinking about popping up. So let me just say this for any woman in that situation. First off, when we talk about ghosting, understand that's not if you just met a dude last week and you did something or said something really offensive. That's just something that just fell off. Don't trip on that. But when we talk about ghosting, I'm talking about, again, you and a guy vibing, everything is cool. Then out of nowhere, all contact just goes. He's not texting you back. He's not calling. Maybe you kind of see some signs leading up into it, but it's still ghosting if he doesn't outright come and say, you know what, I'm no longer interested in seeing where this goes, or I'm having a change of heart, or whatever, to let you know you can go on about your way and he going about his. He just kind of leaves those loose ends tied. Ghosting hurts for a reason, and it's not because you got low self-esteem and you don't know your worth. No, ghosting is manipulative, it's harmful, it's hurtful. Some could even consider it emotionally abusive. I think it's similar to silent treatment in a relationship. Of course, there's stipulations with silent treatment. Maybe a person needs to calm down or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, silent treatment is a manipulative tool used by narcissists in order to gain control over a person or in order to inflict punishment on a person. And if you've ever suffered silent treatment in a relationship instead of a person trying to resolve the conflict with you, you know how tormenting that can be. You know how hard it can be. Well, ghosting, again, is like the cousin of that. Except it's like not just silent treatment, it's completely non-existent presence or something. It's similar. You shut a person off. It's meant to inflict confusion. It's meant to inflict questions, but to also give power to the person that ghosted so that if they want to come back, they can. Or at least they have a better chance because they never tied up those loose ends. So real quick, let's just talk about not necessarily why a man may go ghost, because I feel like honestly both men and women go ghost. But here's the biggest difference I've noticed with ghosting. Women who ghost typically stay gone. They don't come back. Meanwhile, y'all put I down in the chat if I'm speaking facts here. Men that go ghost tend to want to spin the block. Give it a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. Men tend to spin the block. And for those who don't know what spin the block means they come back. They come back crawling. They come back knocking. They come back trying to kiki their way back into some small talking conversation. They come back maybe trying to give you something, act like nothing happened. Maybe some lame excuse, maybe. But put I down in the chat, down here in the chat, if the guy who has ever ghosted you came back, or the guys that have ghosted you have at some point come back into the fray or tried to come back into the fray. And let's be real, sometimes you let them. But let me just give you guys a few reasons why a guy may try to spin the block even after he ghosted you, because it's like at minimum, the least he could do is leave you alone if he didn't want to deal with you, right? No, a dude may ghost you and didn't want to spin the block because him and his main chick, whoever that be, whether it's a relationship partner or the main chick that he was dating, they're back on bad terms. So here he comes back to you because you were the one that helped him get through the last time that they were on bad terms. And maybe he was giving her silent treatment for a little while, or she was giving him silent treatment and was not dealing with him or whatever. So you were kind of his coping mechanism, right? But when they got on good terms, now he's ghosting you. He's blocking all contact with you. And now that they're on bad terms again, he's coming back. That's one of the reasons why a guy who ghosts you won't just leave you alone, just stay ghost or whatever. Another reason why a guy will ghost you and then want to spin the block is because he's horny and desperate. So no respect for you whatsoever, no consideration for your feelings, but he's got a little boner right now. So, maybe you just as desperate as he is, maybe you horny just like he is. And so this is where you get a guy who the conversation, even if he starts off small and cool and chill, it quickly turns sexual. Whether it's a sexual joke or it's just some, like, let me pull up on you. I got some Hennessy and I got a foot-long Subway, or I got some Chipotle, or you hungry? Something where he tries to give you something because he wants something on the back end. That's a guy who's horny and desperate and hoping that you are too. Now, lastly, it's very similar, especially the desperation part. And I think it's the most common reason why a guy will ghost you, but then want to spin the block and come on bike and all that kind of stuff, is because he's thirst checking you. He's thirst checking you, or at least the ghosting was thirst checking you, except you didn't take the bait. You didn't take the bait. You didn't break first. You didn't come begging. You know what I'm saying? You may have hit him up and said, hey, what's going on? Ain't heard from you. Hope you're alive. I hope everything is cool. You may have done that a couple of days, maybe a week. But then after a while, it started to feel like to him, like you were really embracing the distance. Like you were coming to accept that you guys just weren't going to talk anymore. And that ain't the plan for a guy who's thirst checking you. Thirst checking you is basically trying to gauge how thirsty you are. That's what a thirst check is. For those of y'all who don't know, I'll do another video on that soon. But thirst checking you is a way that a guy who wants everything easy to come to him, it's a way that he'll gauge whether or not a woman fits into his plans for the type of roster that he wants of easy women, of thirsty women, of women who are desperate, women who have an abandonment wound that was never healed. So, you know, if you have an abandonment wound, being ghosted or given silent treatment is a huge trigger for you, right? And the guy will exploit that. If you show that you had that abandonment wound and you got really attached to him and you're not sure why, and you're personalizing the fact that he went ghost on you, and now you showing up at his job, or you begging, or you willing to do whatever, or you willing to throw some vagina his way. So if you didn't take the bait and you were just like, all right, after a couple of days, I'm good, or maybe some of y'all don't even take that long before you stop hitting a dude up, then he'll come back to you and see if he can run it back on that whole, like basically hooking you. It's narcissistic. I've seen somebody already put it. That's what a narcissist does. Yes, it is narcissistic. It's somebody who wants control, somebody who wants to have leverage over a woman, her emotions. He wants to, again, inflict that confusion, because if he can get a roster of easy women, then he doesn't have to meet any standard. He doesn't have to put in any relational work. He doesn't have to have any relational work ethic. Y'all know how we always talk about how relationships, marriages, whatever, it takes real work. Well, you have a group of guys these days that not only don't want to do any type of work, but they want the woman to do all the work and chasing them. They want the woman pursuing them. Put I down in the chat if you ran into one of these guys. Put I down here in the chat if you ran into one of these guys that act like they want you to chase him. They want you to be putting in all the work. They want to be the prize. And I'm a believer that both people should be a prize for each other. But no, there's a lot of guys these days that want a woman to basically, again, put it all in their lap, do everything easy. And if you know, like I know, ain't nothing easy worth having. Like that's something it takes for a man to have evolved mentally, spiritually, emotionally, to understand. And something that evolved women need to understand, that a man who wants everything easy ain't worth having either. Ain't worth having either. And you don't have to, I don't know, I get it. We in this new day and age where we want equality and all that kind of stuff. Ladies, you don't have to take on the role of the pursuer, of the initiator, of the one who's going to take that step forward and make your interests known. You can make an initial step without going step 2 through 6 all the way to the first date and all of that. Like, there's a way to do that. And in fact, whenever you let a man be the man, even in the dating phase, and yes, I believe in gender roles to a large extent. I believe in evolved gender roles. But whenever you let a man be a man, that's one of the ways you attract a truly evolved man who's not strictly traditional, but he has a traditional foundation while evolving to modern day standards for a woman's best interest, for a woman's emotional and mental health, for basically common sense, some places that were missed back in the day. There's a way to attract a man by being natural in your feminine role, even in the dating phase, but especially an evolved man who doesn't mind putting in the relational work it takes in order to sustain a healthy, mutually beneficial relationship. Now, I talk way more in depth about how to attract that evolved man in my free masterclass, The Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. If y'all have not gotten access to that conversation, where I talk more in depth about how to position yourself, how to attract a man, how to evaluate a man for being truly evolved and not just another pretender. Click that link that you see pinned down here in the comments. Click that link right there. Get access to this free masterclass now. Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. If that's something that you're interested in and you're tired of having to raise grown boys into being a grown man. But moral of the story is this. For those who have ever been ghosted, those of y'all who've been ghosted, man, I see a lot of y'all in the comments right now, and you have been. Understand something. This ain't no I see dead people type of situation. This ain't nobody got no sixth senses over here. If a person ghosts you, understand why. Understand that it's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you, that they chose to ghost you. If they wanted to leave, they could have had the cojones to say, hey, look, I'm not happy here. I'm not satisfied here. I'd rather not continue talking. But if they ghost you, leave them in the afterlife. Don't let them spin the block. Don't let them run it back one more time just to bring back the same old BS they brought the last time that you gave them access to your time, to your energy, and possibly even to your body. Keep them in the afterlife. But those are just my thoughts. If y'all got anything from this conversation, and I see a lot of y'all did, do somebody else a favor on your timeline and share this stream right now to your timeline. And don't forget to get access to the free masterclass, Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. You ain't got to go running after nobody to get what you want, but you have to understand how to position yourself and attract what it is that you deserve. Click the link, pin down here in the comments, also in the caption whenever you back out. Holla at y'all later.